name is Aidan Kearney, also known as Turtleboy.
He is a senior editor for Turtleboy Daily News.
I'm a big fan.
We've broken hundreds of stories that the mainstream media won't touch.
Some blogger in Massachusetts who's getting to the bottom of this better than anybody.
Why is it Turtleboy that is covering such important issues? Where is the rest of the media?
You did not say that you were going to take my baby out of revenge and make him a transgender baby.
Stop it.
Don't you want to ask some questions? I know you do.
I do. I
know
you do.
People don't like the things that I say and want me to stop saying them, but I won't. I'm never going to stop. These are the kind of stories that must be told.
It's go time. Tick, tick, boom. Bringing the noise. Go, baby, we bringing our toys. Separating from the boys. Chopper be singing, should be on the voice. Bang, bang, we gon' ride out. Gang, gang, we don't die out. Want it like this, ain't no timeouts. Tell me who really gon' find out. We be disturbing the peace. Working, we serving the streets. About to go ahead, going beast. Bang, bang, leave you sleep. Tick, tick, boom. Hard body, and not scaring nobody. You make me resort to wildin'. You must be blind by the diamonds. I didn't want it to be this way, but y'all won't need to try this. So it's no way around it. You the loudest one, it's good quiet. We be disturbing the peace. Working, we serving the streets. About to go ahead, going beast. Bang, bang, leave you sleep. It's go time. Tick, tick, boom. You can't stop me, so who gon' stop me? You can't stop me, so who gon' stop me? You can't stop me, so who gon' stop me? You can't stop me, so who gon' stop me? We be disturbing the peace. Working, we serving the streets. About to go ahead, going beast. Bang, bang, leave you sleep. It's go.
Hey, what's up, Turtle Riders? Welcome. If you guys missed it the other day, I made an announcement on social media that I would be holding off on doing any sort of live shows for a while. However, I'd still like to make videos, so I'm going to be recording ahead of time these streams like the one I'm doing right now. The only difference is that I won't be able to interact live with Turtle Riders or answer questions on the spot. To make up for that, I'll be doing another separate stream 2 or 3 times a week where I specifically address comments and questions from Turtle Riders who donate to the Turtle Chat. Linked in the description of this video is the Ask Turtleboy Dono Read. You can also Cashapp me at $UncleTurtleboy and write a message or a question. I will do what I usually do while reading your Turtle Chats, answer the questions, and go off on tangents about whatever you want me to talk about. The fact of the matter is, however, that the people who are prosecuting me are not doing so in good faith. They've repeatedly lied throughout the charging documents and misrepresented things that I've said. So, you got to be careful, basically. You know, they're holding a 90-day jail sentence over my head if I violate the vaguely worded stay-away orders that prohibit any direct or indirect contact with any of the quote-unquote witnesses. You know, there's people out there, guys, who are so obsessed with my reporting and so dedicated to shutting it down. They listen to every word I say on the streams in order to take things out of context in a bad faith attempt to charge me with violating the orders. These people are actively working with Brian Tully in the DA's office. We all know who they are. We all know that they have no life. We all know how dedicated they are to making sure that I can't continue to report on this case. So we got to be careful. I'm the father of 2 children, and I can't risk missing Christmas with them if these same bad faith actors intentionally misinterpret my words again. Since the entire charging docs consist of quotes from live videos that I posted, I've made the choice for now to keep my commentary primarily in written publication. This allows me to double check everything I write prior to publication. However, I'll also be doing these streams ahead of time where I can once again control the content a little more than I would on an off-the-cuff live show. Also influencing my decision is the fact that 2 judges this week showed that they have no respect for the First Amendment and will blindly believe whatever police or district attorneys tell them. On Thursday, Judge Krupp denied our motion to remove the stay-away orders that prevent me from reporting on this case. Then we had another setback on Friday when a federal court judge, Denise Casper, the same judge who sentenced 𝗬𝗿𝗲𝗺𝗀, denied a temporary restraining order against the Canton Police Department that would allow peaceful protesters to gather outside of Chris Albert's pizza shop. Although I believe in time that higher courts will rule in our favor, these 2 rulings have made me realize that these lower court judges will believe whatever cops tell them. The Krupp decision in particular was outrageous. We're discussing our options for appeal. I posted it in its entirety on the website, tbdailynews.com. And we went over it, and that's what we're going to do now. So Judge Krupp clearly is not a fan of Turtleboy. We've seen this already. Let's watch a clip of him to see exactly what Judge Krupp thinks of me, shall we? Let's bring this one up. Just listen to him, man.
Employed sharp tactics from time to time, getting in people's faces, showing up in people's driveways. It's not witness intimidation. And
you think a journalist can call up a witness and say, it's Turtleboy from them Advantage Boys. Bang, 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 bang. We'll fuck any of you dogs up. You think any journalist can call up a witness and say that and not have it be construed as witness intimidation or a threat? You think that's the law?
Yes, I do, Your Honor. Political hyperbole is protected. There was a case in the 60s, Judge, where someone that was against the draft.
So he's clearly not a fan of the blog or the articles that we're talking about here. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go through the entire finding of Judge Krupp and see everything that's wrong with it and just how he didn't actually apply the First Amendment to anything. All right. So starting here with our first one. Elizabeth Proctor, according to him, Judge Krupp, otherwise has no role in the Read case. And he claims that I encourage people to leave negative reviews on her employer's social media accounts. So as you can see right here, Elizabeth Proctor has no role in the Read case. He goes on to say that I displayed Elizabeth Proctor's cell phone number and indicated that both Trooper Proctor and his wife are lowlifes, bullies who terrorize people for years and deserve to lose their jobs over. He claims that I publicized the identity of her employer, who had nothing to do with the Read case, and encouraged my followers to leave a review on the company's wide open Twitter and Facebook group. However, he failed to leave out a couple things. For instance, I got this message from a turtle rider back in May. And this poor woman had her workplace contacted by Elizabeth Proctor because she left comments about Michael Proctor's corrupt behavior as the lead detective in the Karen Read case. In doing so, Elizabeth Proctor created a chilling effect because people like this innocent woman were afraid to publicly express their views about a matter of public concern out of fear of economic injury. You can see it right here in the messages that were sent to me. This woman could not believe it. This is a single mother trying to get by, and she had her workplace and her livelihood essentially threatened with the threat of economic injury, the same thing that they're now claiming happened to Elizabeth Proctor. So, she says right here, I commented on your post Friday asking how he's still working. And she thought that Trooper Proctor was after her as a result of that. Clearly, this woman was scared. So, as you can see, Liz Proctor has chosen to play a role in the Karen Read case. People are well within their rights to express their dissatisfaction with Instrom, her company, because they choose to employ a woman who would behave like this. They also have not fired her, so there's no economic injury. In case you haven't been paying attention to the news, workplaces are contacted all the time by cancel culture mobs trying to get a person fired. The statute is effectively outlawing cancel culture, but only to family members of quote unquote witnesses. It creates a special class of American citizens known as witnesses. Judge Krupp also cited out of context quotes that I made about John O'Keefe's mother and brother and used an out of context quote that I gave to Boston Magazine. As you can see here, it's not the prettiest quote, but notice the periods and the commas. There are a lot of things in between here that are not included. They don't explain why I'm saying these things. More importantly, it doesn't really matter because the O'Keefes do not have a stay away order on me, and I have not confronted any of them in public. Krupp combines those quotes with the Boston Magazine quote that is clearly suggesting, it's right here, the beauty of Turtleboy is that I can do things in an unconventional manner that other journalists are restricted from doing. I love being the center of attention and being theatrical and performing. He's clearly suggesting there that I'm only saying the things that I say for entertainment purposes. However, when I saw the O'Keefes walking up the courthouse steps, I encouraged other protesters not to boo them. It's right on video. The only reason that Krupp included these quotes was to push the, quote, Turtleboy bad narrative, suggesting that I'm so offensive in general that it's okay to violate my First Amendment rights. But that's not how the First Amendment works. Judge Krupp also claimed that I pressured witnesses to change their testimony, that I spoke to witnesses who told me they didn't wish to speak with me, that I increased my viewership as a result of the Karen Read coverage, and that I didn't adhere to the, quote, codes of ethics for journalists as defined by something called the Society of Professional Journalists Code of Ethics, whatever that is. But here's the problem with that. My page views or viewership is completely irrelevant. There's nothing illegal about increasing your viewership. The First Amendment doesn't stop existing because a lot of people suddenly decide to start reading my blogs or reading my articles or watching my shows. There isn't a single witness who I tried to pressure to change their testimony, not one. And the SPJ Code of Ethics is of no value at all in evaluating a journalists' actions because their code is not the same as bar rules for lawyers. So I don't know why he's citing this. It's outrageous. Next, Krupp claims that examples of harassment on my part include, quote, veiled threats and asking sarcastic and rhetorical questions to witnesses. Oh, no. Except asking sarcastic and rhetorical questions is not harassment. It's protected speech. And there's certainly no veiled threats. Whatever threats that the judge is seeing are completely foreign to me. They're veiled in that they don't exist. Nobody can see them. Next, Krupp claimed that in my videos, I've encouraged followers to threaten witnesses by citing a quote I made about Brian Albert, who does not have a stay away order on me. He also included a quote I made about a confrontation that a woman had with Chris Albert in July. And I think I have some of those quotes right here. Let me pull them up, actually. Let's start with the first one, shall we? So the first one says, it must frustrate him to no end, quote. Let's start with that one, shall we? Here we go. Where are we? There it is. Let's play this one. What are you people so afraid of? The boogeyman doesn't live there anymore. You can't even be like, oh, I'm scared of Brian. Like, no, you don't need to be scared of Brian anymore. We neutered his ass. he's like Brian Albert is so used to being the alpha male of Canton. He's so used to like nobody fucks with his family. 2 years ago, if anyone did what I did today to Chris Albert, Brian Albert would put them in a fucking grave, you know? He'd be like, he'd kick your ass, 𝗵𝗵𝗲. And so it just must frustrate him to no end to watch me, because I know Brian Albert's watching this right now, to watch me just emasculate his family time after time. And there's nothing you can do about it. There's just nothing you can do. And I'm just going to keep doing it. I'm just going to keep, like, this is not my last trip to Canton. I will be back. And more, I think people are getting, like a year or so ago, people didn't want to cooperate with the Karen Reed defense team because they're like, yeah, it's easier to keep my head down and, you know, whatever, and keep a low profile. But now, so as you guys could see there, he left quite a bit out. The beginning part of that is pretty important because I explained that actually the bullies in Canton, the people who have been threatening, intimidating people, are the Alberts and the McCabe's themselves. But thanks to our reporting, we have made people feel safer in Canton. That is the actual quote that preceded the quote that Judge Krupp put in there, which completely changes the context of what was being said. But they didn't put it in there, so nobody got to see that. So this is the second quote. This is from the about Chris Albert when the woman confronted him at the Waterfall bar. So here's what they have in there. We've heard this quote before about how I'd be back, how I'm not Mr. Internet guy, that I'm not just gonna sit here and write blogs all day. I'll live an hour away. We know now, we've been over this several times, that I was not talking about the Alberts or McCabe's in there. I was not talking about any witnesses. I was talking about the DPW employees who were clearly giving me the runaround and didn't want to do their job. But this is the actual quote that he uses in there. Let's play the clip. A woman has a turtle rider. I believe her name is Deanna. You guys got to see this. Okay. So she goes to the Waterfall bar today. I don't know if she's from Canton or what, but I'm going to bring this up for you guys if you haven't seen this yet. So there, she posts this and she says, this is Chris Albert, right? We are at the Waterfall. And there he is in the middle of the, afternoon at the bar. I don't know if he drove there or not, because I don't know if he lost his license. When people forget about Chris Albert, I mean, look at that face, by the way. Look at that face. That is the face of a man who he knows he's being photographed. He's pissed. He's not happy about it. Like, I confronted this guy a couple weeks ago. This guy's got his head. Stop right there. So what they've done, all of that you just heard there, the backstory about how a woman confronted this man at the bar and took his picture, none of that was included in Judge Krupp's findings. They start right here. This is the point where he starts putting my actual quotes into the official court documents. And without those preceding quotes, it completely changes the context. You would have no idea that I'm talking about the fact that Chris Albert accosted a woman at the Waterfall bar. Head on a swivel everywhere now. He's like, turtle riders, where are they? I got bad news for you, Chris. I got really bad news for you. They're literally everywhere. You can't, like, you guys should just stop going out in public. Like, that'd be my recommendation. And it's only going to get worse from here. I did not direct this person to do this. I can't stop them. They're everywhere. They don't like you. Nobody likes you. You guys killed someone. You literally killed someone. Not you. You didn't do it. You raised someone who did it. And, your big bro did it. But, and you obviously know this and you're helping to cover it up. But I guess you didn't kill anyone. So you got that going for you. So good job, Chris. You just raised the killer. Anyway. So obviously that changes quite a bit there, since I'm not actually the one who is confronted him. I specifically stated in there that I did not direct this person to do this. The judge even quoted that in his finding. I did not direct this person to do this. I can't stop them. They're everywhere. Who can? I have millions of readers. How am I supposed to stop people from going to the waterfall bar and getting in confrontations with somebody who is an easily recognizable public figure? The judge does not articulate how any of those things that I just said were threats. He just puts them out there and says, yep, these sound bad, so Turtle Boy must be bad. And that is basically the extent of the legal research he does on that. He doesn't articulate what these veiled threats are. He doesn't articulate how I'm encouraging people to threaten witnesses. As you just heard there, the exact opposite happens. The woman I was discussing did not threaten Chris Albert. And I specifically said that I was not encouraging anyone to do so. Then Judge Krupp admitted that the basis of his findings come from Brian Tully's reports, and the video clips that he viewed came from the Commonwealth. As you can see, I have tried to confirm the accuracy of the quotations in this decision by reviewing the actual video clips supplied by the Commonwealth, not supplied by us. Again, the Commonwealth edited video, took clips out of context, and threw them into a montage. Keep in mind, I've been alleging the entire time that Brian Tully is corrupt and that he lies constantly on reports in the Karen Read case. The fact that his report is the sole basis for the judge's decision is exactly the problem here. We submitted the entire quotes in context, which clearly Krupp did not view. Then here's another quote. It says here, this is an example cited by Krupp about why people shouldn't be afraid to come forward. You just heard this quote from earlier, that people didn't want to cooperate with the Karen Read defense team because they're like, yeah, it's easier to keep my head down and, whatever, keep a low profile. But now, they're like, fuck it. We've made people realize that you don't have anything to be afraid of. That should be a good thing. That should be a good thing. I have decreased witness intimidation in the town of Canton. An atmosphere of fear and intimidation existed because people were afraid to testify against the Alberts. My reporting and activism have made people less afraid. Krupp proved my point by including this quote. Then, Krupp repeated the lie in his findings that I encouraged followers to order food from Chris Albert and not pay for it, which led to a vast increase in orders not being picked up. Quote, the defendant traveled to Canton and went to a pizza restaurant owned by Chris Albert. Later, according to Detective Tully, on a video posted on YouTube, the defendant encouraged his followers to order food from Chris Albert's restaurant, but not pay for it. And he's got a footnote at the bottom that says, after defendant posted this video, Chris Albert's restaurant had a vast increase in the number of telephone orders not picked up or paid for. It is completely unsubstantiated. It's also known as a lie. This literally never happened, which is why they did not bother citing it in anything. Judge Krupp just chose to blindly believe them, which is the problem here. The problem is that our courts trust police and district attorneys not to ever lie, but they should be more skeptical with them. If they put something in there, they should have evidence. They did not. Instead, Krupp blindly took his word for it. Next, Krupp claimed that Colin Albert was the target of harassment and intimidation on social media as a result of a voicemail that I left mocking threatening statements he made toward rival gang members on social media. You might have heard of these before.
Yo, you're advantage boys. I will beat all your asses. I promise you, I will fuck you all up. Pull up, bitch. You're a bitch, bro. Fuck you. Yeah, fuck you, you pussy. Yeah. Clean cold, boy. You be knocked out. KO. Bang, bang.
Yikes. So, according to Judge Krupp, since then, Colin has been the target of harassment and intimidation on social media. and employees of the college Colin planned to attend received emails from people who copied the defendant's allegations. Except there's just one problem. Colin Albert has no social media. He isn't on Facebook. He isn't on Twitter. He isn't on Instagram. Our followers would have no mechanism to harass or intimidate him online, even if they wanted to. But I did not direct anyone to do that regardless. Krupp completely disregarded the fact as well that this whole quote right here about, yo, we'll fuck any of you dogs up. Let's play it again. You've probably heard this quote before. Let's just play it again for any newbies. Yo, Colin, it's Turtle Boy from them Advantage Boys. Bang, 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 bang. Yo, we'll fuck any of you dogs up. Yo, you challenge my boys, them Advantage Boys, to a fight, dog. And we about that life, son. We about that life. Yo, we from Sharon, son. Yo, your Canton bitches ain't hard, yo. Us Sharon bitches, us Advantage Boys. Nobody be fucking with us and shit, dog. So, yo, call me back. No, but seriously, it's Aidan Kearney from Turtleboy Daily News. I just want to know, so clearly, again, as we all know, what you just heard right there was a mockery of this.
Bitch, bro. Fuck you.
Yeah, fuck you, you pussy.
Yeah. Clean cold, boy. You be knocked out. KO. Bang, bang. Yo, your Advantage boys. I will beat all your asses. I promise you, I will fuck you all up. Pull up, bitch.
Up just completely disregarded the fact that I was mocking Colin with the voicemail, not threatening him. Krupp can't claim to know that he wasn't aware of this. We put it in our supplemental filings, and anyone who watched that clip of me clearly knew that that was a bit, clearly knew that I was mocking Colin's behavior. I don't even know what the Advantage Boys are. I've never heard of them before I listened to Colin's video. I never used terms like bang, bang. Clearly, we were mocking him. We made that information available to Judge Krupp. He just chose to completely ignore it. Next. Krupp also claims that I harassed witnesses by posting a list of Jennifer McCabe's call log from a publicly available defense motion in the Read case. Let's check out the video that I did on that on June 13th. As you can see here, you have a whole bunch of phone numbers. This is all directly off of the affidavit filed on April 12th by Alan Jackson. It's publicly available to anyone who wants to look at it. The Commonwealth is not making any attempt to hide the phone numbers of any of the people that Jennifer McCabe called that morning. This is all relevant to the case, and everyone that she called is fair game to be questioned by a journalist, because we would like to know, why did she call these people? And that is exactly what we did in this episode. We went through the entire call log to try to put together Jennifer McCabe's day. Why did she call Michael Lank at 8:38? We did not even know that was Michael Lank's phone number until we called it. And we especially did not know who this phone number was until we called it. It's Proctor. It's Proctor. It's fucking Proctor.
At the tone, please record your message. When you've finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Hi, Trooper Proctor. This is award-winning journalist Aidan Kearney calling. I'm calling to talk to you. I do have some questions about you. I have a lot of questions, actually. For starters, why didn't you tell anyone before doing the investigation that you were good friends with the Albert family? Why did you... This is not witness intimidation, guys. It's not witness intimidation to call up or show a call log of a public document. The Commonwealth made absolutely no attempt to redact any of those phone numbers. It's all online. It is not against any sort of statute to publicly post that and to call numbers in an investigative manner to find out who it was. As you can see right there, I had no idea that that was Michael Proctor's phone number. None. The fact that his phone number was public was the Commonwealth and the court's fault. They allowed that to go up there. They've impounded so many files in the Kearney case, but they did not impound that. They chose to make it public. That is not on me. That is on them. The next thing that we have here. On June 26th, this one, Coverup claims that I harassed witnesses when I videotaped into the home of Jennifer McCabe and published pictures of her children and made comments about her sister, Denise Galvin. Now, we know that the pictures of her children, quote unquote, she claims those aren't even her children to begin with. So that seems like a bit of a contradiction, but we were posting we know those actually are her children. And the reason we're bringing them up is not because we like attacking children. It's because it shows a link between Michael Proctor and the McCabe family. It would be highly unusual for Michael Proctor to be at a small social gathering with Jennifer McCabe's children in towels. That would be bizarre. So that establishes that. So that is newsworthy. Regardless, this incident where I allegedly videotaped the residence, including the inside of Jennifer McCabe's home, is completely misrepresentative of what actually happened here. Let's watch the actual tape of what happened when we went to Jennifer McCabe's house. We walked right up to the front door, rang the doorbell. I film everything anyway. Most people don't have their door wide open in the middle of the day. She did. Let's watch what happened. No. Oh, there's Jen. Let's see if they come to the door. So I definitely saw Jen in there. I think they can hear us on the ring too. So Jen, I mean you no harm. I just have a couple questions. Looking for how long to die in cold. I wonder if you had an answer for that. But we'll see. So she doesn't answer the question. At no point has Jennifer McCabe ever told me to leave her alone. At no point has Jennifer McCabe ever told me to stop asking her questions. That is what Judge Coverup claimed earlier in his findings, that they have asked me to stop and I continue anyway. I've persisted anyway. I have badgered them. Nothing has happened like that. They just choose to ignore me, which is fine. They don't have to answer any of my questions, but I do have a right to ask them. As you can see there, that I videotaped the residents, including videotaping into the home through an open front door. There is nothing illegal about that. There is nothing witness intimidating about that. They also include this quote about Jennifer McCabe's sister in response to, of course, they don't point this out, in response to the fact that her sister Denise Galvin threatened and harassed members of Karen Reed's legal defense team and 2020 reporters who were just doing their job outside of CF McCarthy's because it was next door to D&E Pizza. And I am quoted, amongst other things, I believe these are the veiled threats that Judge Coverup is talking about, when I said, you killed John O'Keefe, you worthless piles of shit. I'm going to find you, motherfucker. I'm going to find you. Just know that. You want to fucking dance? We can dance. So that, I mean, I read the whole quote, and that seems to be if he's going to say anything is a veiled threat, I believe that is what he's suggesting there, that would be the quote unquote veiled threat. Except there's just one problem with that. Asking someone if they want to dance is not a threat at all. Just ask Kevin Reddington, the attorney for Jennifer McCabe, who came on my Facebook page, called me Turd Boy. I still can't believe he did this. And said, quote, 2 consecutive acquittals on first-degree murders and 3 rapes in the past year. So he's good at getting off rapists. I'm a loser. No, my friend, you are. You are a low-level sensationalist with a blog. You're writing this because it's the first time you have any real action. Your wild, hallucinatory accusations against innocent people will land you in court. Interesting. And your blowhard comments about never losing will go down. You are a reckless person, but I'm sure that you've heard that before. We shall dance, my friend. You don't want to dance with me. Trust me. Is that witness intimidation? Does Judge Krupp think that Kevin Reddington should be charged with a felony for asking me if I want to dance? Because that's exactly what I asked Denise Galvin on my show. And apparently it proves that I'm some sort of a felon in his eyes. But it's not harassment to walk up to someone's door, videotape what is directly in front of you. And it's certainly not witness intimidation to ask somebody if they want to dance. Next. Krupp blindly believed Tully's lie that we walked up to the Proctor's front lawn and spit on their driveway during the rolling rally protest. Quote, the second location was the Proctor's home. The Proctors were not at home. So what were they intimidated by if they weren't there? Defendant stayed at the location for 7 minutes. Oh, no, not 7 minutes. During that time, the defendant used a megaphone and stated that Trooper Proctor had framed Read, protected speech, and stated personal information about Trooper Proctor's family, mainly their names, mainly. Yes. While in front of the Proctor's home, members of the protest, which was organized and fomented by the defendant, quote, walked on the Proctor's lawn and spit on the driveway, according to Detective Lieutenant Tully. Video clips, and now this is funny, the footnote here, video clips that the Commonwealth and defendant submitted to the court show a crowd of people on the street, not on their lawn, on the street. Again, there is video of this. Let's watch what actually happened at the Proctor household during this horrible, horrific rolling rally.
All right. So we are here. Everyone's coming in. Look at all these people. Look at all these people. Look at all the cars. This is the most traffic this road has ever gotten. Man, the neighbors need to do something about their lawn. Holy cow. Holy cow. Okay. We got, if you're over here, please hit up the lemonade stand. There's some nice children over there selling lemonade. It looks delicious. Turtle Riders are helping them out. First of all, I don't.
So we have so far, what has happened here? There's no one on the lawn. There's no one spitting on the driveway. It's a beautiful day. There's children with a lemonade stand. How could this possibly be what the Commonwealth is presenting it to be if there are parents in the suburbs allowing their children to have a lemonade stand during it, which is just brilliant marketing, by the way. Love those kids.
I don't know if those kids did this on purpose, but if they did, well done, kids. That is entrepreneurial right there. Like, I am going to set up a lemonade stand on the day of the Turtle Boy rolling rally. That is ingenious. God bless those children. Feel free to support them. Hello, what's happening? There we go. All right. So, all right, welcome everybody. We'll let people roll on in here. Like I said, it's going to be difficult because we're in residential areas, but this is the home of conflicted State Trooper Michael Proctor. It appears as if does he still? Oh, you notice he's got a turtle crossing thing there. I keep put that up. Some people thought that a turtle rider put that up, and we're now told that he put that up, and that's kind of speaks to how arrogant he is. That he's almost like mocking us. They do have a private property sign now, which is smart because I've knocked on his door a couple weeks ago, and he's a state trooper, so he knows that if he puts that up, then we cannot step on his property, which is fine. It also appears as if they've taken down the thin blue line flag.
So there you go, folks. There you go. I actually do the opposite. Not a single person stepped foot on Michael Proctor's property. Nobody spit on his driveway. If they did, it wouldn't be illegal anyway. You can spit on asphalt. It is not a crime. It is not witness intimidation to do so. But it's a lie. And we have, once again, Judge Krupp just blindly believed Lieutenant Tully's version of what happened. If he had watched the video, which clearly he couldn't be bothered to do, he would see that none of that has happened. And if he believes that Lieutenant Tully would lie to him so brazenly about one thing, what else wouldn't Lieutenant Tully lie to him about? But Judge Krupp didn't want to do that for whatever reason, you actually heard me on there say that we cannot step foot on his property, which is fine. I acknowledge that it's private property. We don't go on there. I stay there for all of 7 minutes. I talk about what Michael Proctor did to cover up the murder of John O'Keefe, and then we move on to the next one. So, next thing that Judge Krupp had in his ruling here, he said that Krupp made a factual finding that during the rolling rally, I directed neighbors of the McCabe's to pressure them to change their testimony. Quote, Detective Tully's reports demonstrate a concerted effort by the defendant to cause or threaten economic or emotional injury to witnesses or family members of witnesses to get them to change their testimony. That's a big thing there. You have to try to get them to change their testimony. Well, when did I do that at the McCabe's? It says the defendant made efforts to persuade the neighbors of the McCabe's and Julie Nagel, we'll get to her next, to pressure the witnesses to change their testimony. That the numerous calls, contacts, voicemails, and the like reflect a systematic pattern of harassment designed to intimidate the witnesses in the Read case. Now, keep in mind, I called all of these people once. Jennifer McCabe admitted that in court, that I called her once and simply asked her some questions. So there's no systematic pattern of harassment, and there's certainly nothing designed to intimidate any witnesses. Now, did I say anything of like that, resembling that at the rolling rally? It says here, this is the quote that they used. This is the quote that they used. They said that, quote, I just want all Jen McCabe's neighbors to know, in case they don't already know, that the people that live right here, they are cop killers. They are cop killers. These are cop killers that live here. I must have missed the point where I said anything to the effect that I wanted them to change their testimony. I don't see anything like that in there. I simply pointed out the undeniable fact here that these people were involved in the murder of John O'Keefe. It's just a fact. And then this is the actual video of what preceded that.
Niece. Oh, we got, oh, sorry. Hi, John McCabe's neighbor. You're free Karen Read. Are you team Karen Read? Team Karen Read. All right. So, anyway.
So there is my extent of the interaction with Jennifer McCabe's neighbors. No point do I tell them to pressure Jennifer McCabe to change her testimony. I simply ask them, are you team Karen Read? They don't really talk. And I say, anyway, and then I go on talking about what Jennifer McCabe did according to the evidence against her in court. If there's a reason that Jennifer McCabe is under federal investigation and had to testify in front of a grand jury. So I did have one more quote from that. Let's go play this part over here. This is the part that they actually quoted me as saying.
Shortly after that. So I just want all of Jen McCabe's neighbors to know, in case they don't already know, the people that live right here at 12. They're cop killers. These are cop killers, folks. These are cop killers that live here. They could have saved John O'Keefe's life. They're not. Your neighbors are cop killers. They're going to try to live life like nothing has happened, but we're not going to let them do that, because you don't get to kill police officers and fathers and get away with it. You certainly don't get to frame innocent people.
So as you can see there, there was absolutely no threat there. There was no, that's probably what Krupp is saying, is a veiled threat that we're not going to let them get away with it. In other words, we're not just going to ignore that. We are going to peacefully protest against the actions of these individuals. That was what was being said there. If he saw a veiled threat there, it's because he wanted to see a veiled threat there. There was clearly absolutely no veiled threat or imminent threat of any nature or any sort in that statement there. So complete misrepresentation here. As for Juliana Nagel, Krupp claims that I directed her neighbors to pressure her to change her testimony. Quote, the rolling rally went by Julie Nagel's house in Canton. She was at home. She lives there with her parents and two siblings. The defendant stopped there for about 10 minutes. At the location, the defendant announced that Ms. Nagel lives at the residence and encouraged her to come out and tell the truth. Oh no, not the truth. And this is where they're going to try to get me. Sought to have Ms. Nagel's neighbors pressure her. Detective Lieutenant Tully quotes the defendant as saying, again, Tully quotes the defendant as saying, "You might as well tell the truth and let the world know what happened. Neighbors, maybe you can pressure them into this." So let's play the actual quote there of what happened that we have queued up. And it is very similar to that. So let's play it in actual context.
So you might as well tell the truth and let the world know what happened. So, neighbors, maybe you guys can help us pressure them into this. Julie Nagel was involved. It was at the murder of a Boston police officer. She knows what happened, and she is actively involved in the cover-up. She's not be able to walk around town like none of this happened, while an innocent woman named Karen Reed, a very nice woman named Karen Reed, suffers the consequences of her silence and her complicity. The truth will set you free. Absolutely. Absolutely. So
are all those people criminals too? Are they all guilty of witness intimidation, yelling "the truth will set you free"? Why am I the only one charged? Not that I think anyone else should be charged, but my point here is that they're clearly coming after me because I have the platform, right? If you guys had the platform too, if you had a YouTube channel with 50,000 subscribers, they might be coming after you too. They're not threatened by the things that I'm saying. They're threatened by the fact that I have the ability to reach large numbers of people. That is exactly why they're doing this. They don't want me to talk about this sort of stuff, right? And more importantly here, he quotes me as urging Julie Nagel to, quote, tell the truth, right? I mean, that's what he's quoting me as saying, to tell the truth. If Julie Nagel is already telling the truth, then I'm not pressuring her to change her testimony, am I? Is Krupp suggesting that Julie Nagel is currently lying and that it's in the best interest of the administration of justice for her to keep on lying instead of telling the truth? I certainly hope he's not saying that. That wouldn't be good. So the next thing that he has here, let's pull it up. Okay. Let's see. Next thing. Where'd it go? There it is. O'Brien versus 𝗵𝗏𝗏𝗏. So Krupp said that the First Amendment does not authorize journalists to commit crimes because it does not. That O'Brien versus 𝗵𝗏𝗏𝗏. So O'Brien versus 𝗵𝗏𝗏𝗏 is the harassment prevention order statute. Basically says that harassment is defined by, true threats and imminent threat of bodily harm. And that does not happen here. But more importantly, he says that the First Amendment does not authorize journalists to commit crimes. I have not been convicted of committing any sort of crimes that I've been charged with. So for him to find a factual basis that I have committed a crime is inappropriate. Inappropriate right there. Next, Krupp claims that it's not just my speech that's the problem, but also my conduct that I'm being charged with. He cited the dancing comment and the mocking of Colin Albert as examples of true threats because they are speech that was designed to encourage my followers to harass witnesses. That we'll fuck any of you dogs up thing. You want to fucking dance, blah, blah, blah. Then he had a little footnote here that said, nor can this type of speech and conduct fairly be considered journalism. It induces defendant's followers to call the cellular number to harass witnesses. The defendant created theater, an abusive theater at that, at the expense of the witnesses and lead investigator in the Reed case. Goes on to say that this constitutional protections of free speech do not protect advocacy that is directed to inciting or producing imminent lawless action or to produce such action. except there's just a few problems. The dancing comment was directed at Denise Galvin, who is not a witness to anything. I am not being charged with my conduct. I'm just being charged with my speech. So I don't know what he's talking about there when he says that I'm also being charged for my conduct. I'm not. I haven't done anything. Literally everything I'm being charged for is speech. I certainly never encourage any of you people to harass the witnesses. Krupp claims that all of this was, abusive theater, which once again is his slight way of suggesting that I'm just doing this for clicks, which wouldn't matter anyway. But I'm not actually a reporter. I'm not actually reporting the news. He cited the Brandenburg decision that, actually increased people's free speech rights. But he suggested that the courts can limit speech when it's directed to incite imminent lawlessness. But there was no incitement to commit lawlessness. So I don't even know why he's mentioning that. It's completely irrelevant to what we're dealing with here. Then Krupp reluctantly referred to me as a member of the press, but then said that my journalism wasn't really journalism because I'm attempting to pressure witnesses to change their testimony, he claims. Journalism generally involves eliciting information from sources who may be witnesses in a case, not attempting to have witnesses change their testimony or inciting others to pressure witnesses to change theirs. The defendant has no license in the name of journalism to intimidate or harass witnesses and jeopardize the integrity of judicial proceedings. But nobody's trying to do that here. Jennifer McCabe is not going to suddenly admit that she helped murder John O'Keefe and accept a lengthy prison sentence due to a peaceful rolling rally. The people just have a problem with the fact that there is a woman walking around that Googled how long to die in cold at 2:27 in the morning, and which quite clearly implicates her in the murder of John O'Keefe. People don't like that, and they have a right to voice their opinion that that person is a bad person. They have a right to do that in a free country. Goes on to say, he claims that I didn't know what I was doing was illegal. That is a baseless argument. The whole ignorance of law is not a defense to it. That it was because it's a commonly and accepted and understood that I was harassing the witnesses. Quote, defendant asserts that the stay away, no contact order should be stricken because the statute did not put him on fair notice that his conduct, which he describes as normal journalistic tactics, was criminal. I'm not persuaded by this argument, he says. The words of the statute are commonly accepted and understood, and the term harass is sufficiently defined. Except this statute is quite possibly the most vaguely worded statute ever. I legitimately had no idea that they could ever interpret this as witness intimidation. I was familiar with the statute. I've addressed this before. I read it over. I didn't see anything in there that I was even close to doing because I am not trying to influence anyone's testimony. So clearly, they did not, the statute itself did not put me on notice that anything I was doing was criminal because I had no idea. And the term harassment was not sufficiently designed at all because two judges in Stoughton District Court both ruled that the same exact conduct I'm now being charged with was not considered true threats. So that's Judge Krupp. The other judge is Judge Casper. She's a federal judge, and she denied the order, a temporary restraining order that would allow the peaceful protesters in Canton to protest outside of D&E Pizza. So it says that Judge Casper ruled that it was not clear if the 9 protesters faced a credible threat of prosecution or arrest. It's not clear, she says. Yet, she goes on to say here that the police gave protesters a copy of the witness intimidation statute. A statute is also known as a law. And when you break the law in America, you get arrested. the statute states that those who violate the statute, quote, shall be subject, right there, shall be subject to criminal penalty. It provides criminal penalty. So how can she say then that there was no threat of arrest? It says right there, you shall be subject to criminal penalty, aka arrest. The police also told these people that what they were doing was illegal. And according to the law, if you keep doing this illegal thing or any illegal thing, what usually happens? Oh, right. You get arrested. You get arrested when you do illegal things. And so what other conclusion could they possibly reach other than we will be arrested if we continue to do this? She goes on to say that the protesters were not arrested. But as she pointed out, they have legally suffered injury merely by being threatened. Quote, they face a credible threat of prosecution, or if your rights are basically violated, if you face a credible threat of prosecution, or by alleging that your speech was chilled to avoid enforcement consequences. She goes on to say, although the fear of prosecution must be objectionably reasonable, the evidentiary bar is extremely low. The party need not violate the statute and suffer the penalty in order to generate a conflict worthy of standing in federal court. Accordingly, a plaintiff has suffered injury when facing threatened enforcement of law, which we obviously, again, right here, shall be subject to criminal penalty. Also, facing threatened enforcement of law. It's right there. What are we missing here, Judge? What are we missing here? Additionally, the protesters were denied access to the 911 call. Jenna Rocco tried to get that because there's an ongoing investigation into them. Quote, plaintiffs further rely upon a Canton Police Department reply to a public records request that denied the same on the basis of an exemption from disclosure for an ongoing investigation. The reference to an ongoing investigation does not suggest on this record that such investigation concerns these plaintiffs. So who does it involve then? Who are they investigating if not those 9 people that the police went? I mean, is this a joke? Who would they possibly be investigating? The boogeyman? Yikes. Yikes. There has been no disavowal of the defendants, she goes on to point out. Right? There's been no disavowal of the defendants not to charge the plaintiffs. That's a good point. At no point have the Canton police been like, oh, no, we're not going to charge them, which makes us believe that they're trying to, that the investigation is into them. For all these reasons, and at this early juncture, and on factual record before it, the court assumes the plaintiffs have met the extremely low bar. Okay, so they've met the bar. So what's the problem? What's the problem, Your Honor? The standard of judicial scrutiny warranted by a government restriction varies based on whether the restrictant is content-based or content neutral. Content-based regulations are presumptively unconstitutional and must be justified only if the government proves that they are narrowly tailored to serve compelling state interests. Except, let's watch what actually happens here, shall we? Let's pull up this video. See what actually happens. If there's what he said was the reason, what Officer Zepp said was the reason that this was problematic.
We have free Karen read side. I mean, do you have a highlighter so I can highlight that for you?
You guys have signs calling Albert was in the house, free Karen read.
Okay.
That's our opinion, though.
Yeah, it's all opinions. But again, what we're saying is.
But what you're saying isn't matching up with what this says. This is a law.
So he says right there, the problem is what the sign said. The problem is that the sign said free Karen Read, Colin Albert was in the house. He specifically cited that. So again, the restriction cannot be content-based, right? Clearly the restrictions there are content-based. He even put it in writing. She put it in writing. At the protest, the plaintiffs held signs that said free Karen Read and justice. So the problem was the signs themselves, not the fact that they were there. The judge is the one who said this. So what exactly am I missing here? What exactly is the problem? Judge Casper pointed out how the witness intimidation statute was designed to protect witnesses from being bullied to the point where they are too reluctant to testify. Except not a single person is scared to testify, nor is it designed to make them feel that way. Name the witness who is scared to testify because these people are protesting outside of D&E Pizza. You can't. Chris Albert is not going to suddenly decide that he's going to turn his son Colin in and admit that he killed John O'Keefe because these 9 people are outside his pizza shop. Also, 5 Canton cops are also witnesses. This basically prohibits protests outside of the police station. There is nowhere you can go in Canton that would keep you out of eyesight of a witness, a potential witness, or a family member of a witness. And wherever those witnesses go, you must leave. So they essentially have veto power over you wherever you go. The most outrageous statement, of course, is this one, that the plaintiffs did not gather in any other public location but outside of Albert's place of business. There is nothing in the statute or as applied to plaintiffs that would prohibit their gathering to do the same in other locations. Yes, there is. You cannot go anywhere in Canton. But this is the most outrageous statement. The fact that the protest took place outside an individual witness's place of work and involved multiple participants tends to increase, not decrease, the risk that the witness's testimony may be influenced. She actually wrote that down. That Chris Albert will be more likely to change his testimony because there is more than one. There are multiple participants. Somehow that matters to him. Somehow that matters. This is a guy who every week at Board of Selectmen meetings, people show up in mass amounts to shame and humiliate him. And he clearly is not the least bit fazed by it. But we are to believe, according to this judge in her infinite wisdom, that they have increased the chances that he's just going to turn his son in and admit that Colin actually did kill John O'Keefe. Ridiculous. I mean, look at these scary people. They want us to believe that these very scary faces influenced Chris Albert, like the smiling faces with signs that say justice. Who would be opposed to justice? Except somebody looking to push an injustice, I guess. Lastly, he says here that she said that the police merely advised the protesters of the statute, but didn't threaten to arrest them. However, she went on to admit that the police intended to enforce the law if violated. So plaintiff's assertion that they would have not been threatened with arrest if they had expressed support for the witnesses' expected testimony is not supported by the factual allegations of the verified complaint. So for instance, if they had signs that said Chris Albert's a great guy, that there is no evidence that the police would have allowed them to continue, except Zepp is on tape saying that the problem is what's on the sign. The problem is the sign itself. That there's an expressed an intent to enforce the law if violated. So again, the judge concluded that the right to protest was not chilled, despite the fact that she admitted they had a legitimate reason to assume they'd be arrested if they continued to protest. And it says right here, irreparable harm, the loss of First Amendment freedoms for even minimal periods of time unquestionably constitutes irreparable injury. That is what I will be using in a civil lawsuit against the people that did this to me, that violated my rights. Plaintiffs have not shown a risk of irreparable harm if the injunctive relief is not granted. That's untrue. It's simply untrue. So this is, if I'm being candid here, this is the primary reason, guys, that I am no longer doing the live shows live. I just have to be careful, right? Because I thought that judges, like, okay, the district attorney's office is corrupt. We know that. The police are corrupt. We know that. But we can count on judges to see through the bullshit and see through the lies. Clearly, I was wrong. We cannot count on the judiciary, at least the lower courts, to do that. We're going to have to count on the higher courts. So we're going to continue to push this forward. So we're not going to do any live shows because too many things can go wrong during a live show. I could say the wrong thing out of context. Everything I just read to you was scripted, or, you know, some stuff was off the cuff. But for the most part, I wasn't going off on any tangents or swearing or anything like that. It's a little bit more controlled. However, if you guys would, obviously there's no dono portion of this. What I'm going to do tomorrow is a separate stream where or maybe later today, where I just answer any dono. So if you guys would like to donate and help us out here, legal defense fund, whatever, you can click at the link to the Turtle Chat, which we'll try to pin to the comments when we stream this live. We're going to restream this live tomorrow. And you can donate whatever amount of money you want, or you can donate on the Cash App at $Uncle and write a message. I will do a separate second stream where I just address the donos and kind of riff off of that. So thank you guys for joining us. We ain't got no quit. We're not stopping. Definitely not going to, they want us to stop, reporting on these things, but we're not going to do that. The fight for justice for John O'Keefe and for Karen Read must continue, and it will continue. So thank you guys for supporting us. I'm humbled beyond words for your support, and we will see you guys periodically with more streams like this in the future. Peace, Turtle Riders.